Check 1, 2. We got it? Okay. Looks like we're ready to start. So actually the joke is on everybody in here. This is not really a roast. Is the Reverend Charles Hudson in the room? No, that's okay. If he's not, I got ordained for this occasion. Hope, I need you up here. My wedding photographer is ready in the back. Okay. Tommy, I need you up here too. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. No. Just kidding. I better stop the proceedings right now before this becomes a roast, a toast, and a memorial service.
For you.
How's that ticker, Tommy?
It's in my throat.
Now, I don't want you to think that this joke was Hope's idea. At least that's what she told me to say. False alarm. Everyone can be seated. Okay. I mean, pretty much the whole Saxe family is here, so it would have been kind of convenient, right?
Shut up.
Yeah, okay. By way of introduction, I'm Kevin Reynolds. I've been a Saxe since 7th grade. That's right, you heard me right. I'm one of the Saxes, just like Taylor Swift fans are Swifties. So, just by the virtue of the fact that you're all here, Tom thinks all of you are pretty Saxe too. Now, right off the top, we'd like to thank each and every one of you, fellow Saxes, for showing up for our buddy Tom. The obvious occasion for this gathering is twofold. A celebration of his 70th birthday. Huh? Right? 70? And his retirement from what I'm told was a very successful legal career. But was it?
Word on the street.
Really?
Woo, that's a good one.
Because I got to tell you, Tommy, you handled both of my divorces, and looking back, I kind of feel like you went 0 for 2.
You still have your underwear, right?
Julie, you can relax, honey. So as long as I'm recognizing my lovely wife, I'd like to thank her for putting up with me testing out my material on her the last couple of weeks. Ever since I was first drafted to become this Roastmaster. By the end of the roast, you'll all be thanking her too, because my material was a lot less tame before she got a hold of it. Don't get me wrong, it's still probably rated something like, I don't know, PG-19. And that's what you can expect tonight, a mix of serious praise and friendly poison for a guy who over the years has earned all of it. And just so you know, this is all being recorded for posterity's sake and possibly for a deposition. Now that's a legal term, and since you've all got at least 3 lawyers at your tables, you can ask them about that later. Jake is our crack video guy, actually works with me at Wood TV 8. Now, we call him our crack video guy because he works so much better when he's on crack. Which is why he'll be moving around the room rather rapidly tonight. Now, after this, Jake is going to take all the footage he gathers tonight, and he's going to edit it into what I'm sure will look like an Emmy Award-worthy video presentation for Tommy that he can watch over and over again in his old age, like next month. Or it could look like shit and embarrass all of us, me especially, in which case I will remind Jake that he conveniently forgot to load film in the camera. Right, Jake? Right? It's digital. I can't use that excuse. So apparently we're all screwed, which is totally how Tommy's going to feel at the end of this tonight. Got to tell you, lots of great memories of this space. What a beautiful facility. And great food, right, too, huh? Italiano. In that vein, I'm happy to say that Tony made us an offer we couldn't refuse in terms of using the room. Big shout out. Thank you. Now, back in the day when I was working in radio, we had some of our annual company Christmas parties in this very room. I know we've got some radio peeps, or I think former radio peeps at least in the there we go, okay. So you guys know that radio stations are so cheap that it was probably a trade situation, right, for airtime? Okay, yeah, right. Which, coincidentally, is how most of Tommy's early relationships with women worked. Speaking of working, I guess I've worked with DJs my entire career, not just when I was with CUZ and B93, but because one of my fellow sales reps at Wood TV8 is now an actual wedding DJ and club DJ. And thanks to Tony's partnership with us, we've thrown several vinyl dance parties right in this room. As a matter of fact, the last one of my coworkers, I think, threw up right over there. That probably won't happen tonight, but you never know. That bar was pretty busy. At any rate, Tony, thank you for your hospitality. Did he disappear? Okay. Now, as you might guess, things will be revealed about our honored guest's past tonight. Things that predate Tommy's family, his career. And in case any of that is too much for anyone to handle, especially his kids, we decided we'd have something on hand to protect the squeamish from pain and embarrassment. So we have lots of these earplugs. If anybody wants them, feel free to come up and grab some earplugs. So, yeah. Thank you, Ralston. Audience participation is welcome tonight. Now, some of you know me, and by the end of the night, many of you will hate me. But right now, you may be wondering who this Kevin guy is and what qualifies him to host this event. Well, I guess I just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Burton Heights in the 70s. That's where we met, Tom and me, and many of you. You could say that we grew up on the wrong side of the track, or at least close to the wrong side of the tracks. Oh, who the hell am I kidding? We were right on the damn tracks, okay? And there was a train coming at us, full speed, because a lot of us didn't have ideal home lives. Both Tommy and I had alcoholic fathers. Tom's mom had passed away when he was still in school. Neither of us had much hope, but he even came to live with me for a while when we were in high school. He was a scrawny, asthmatic little smartass. But just look at him now. He's no longer scrawny and little. And of course, now he's got more hope than he can handle. Now, the good news is we got up, we got out, and we made something of our lives. I think Tom probably went as far, if not farther, than any of the rest of us. Not just a lawyer, a law partner, respected, influential, a friend to so many. Nice. But not nice enough to keep us from ripping on him tonight. All in good fun, of course. But keep in mind that because this is a roast, technically every single person in this room, yeah, I mean you, is fair game. Which coincidentally was Sherry Flynn's nickname in the locker room. Where's she? Oh. Is Sherry here? Well, speaking of the school locker room, speaking of that school locker room, I saw the junk of a lot of you guys, okay? And I got to tell you, not impressed. Except for our first official roaster tonight.
We're going alphabetically.
Julian Arizola. Julian was a fellow classmate of ours at Burton and Central High, so he'll be shedding some light on Tom's school years. Now, after that, Julian went on to become an integral part of the Grand Rapids Fire Department. Yeah, big hand. A servant of the public. So recently, Julian, I don't know if you guys knew this, he was featured as the centerfold in the latest Hot Fireman calendar. In his honor, they named it Caliente. But in all fairness, this was the AARP edition. And yes, for those of you who may not have seen it, all of his hair is gray. Ladies and gentlemen, and especially the ladies, Mr. Julian Arizola.
Good evening, everyone.
You gotta get like this.
Oh, no. Kevin was breathing into it.
Hey, I have no cootie. Maybe other stuff, but no cootie.
Good evening, everyone. As Kevin already told you, I'm Julian, and Tom and I have been friends for almost 60 years. I was honored to be asked to participate in Tom's birthday celebration tonight. My initial thought, since I'm a retired firefighter and he's a retired lawyer, was that I would be tasked with overseeing the lighting of the candles on his birthday cake. After all, that many candles could be a huge liability and a fire hazard. But that wasn't what he had in mind. Instead, he wanted me to roast him. Who wants to be roasted on their birthday? Only Tom. Negative attention is better than no attention. It should be tasteful, and as you probably know, Tom and tasteful don't necessarily go together. So here we are, the Tom Show, Tom style. I mean, look at him, all spiffed up. Dino Saxe, with a little story from me, Julian style. It's called Tom's Tale. Everyone here probably already knows Tom is a great father, grandfather, friend, and he loves cars, music, sports, and telling jokes. That he is an okay golfer, was a great lawyer, according to him, and that he is a very picky eater. I met Tom on the first day of 7th grade. Tom was so small, I thought he must have wandered over from the elementary side. There was no way he could be a 7th grader. Come to find out, he's older than all of us. He'd already been given an extra year to grow and reach puberty. It just hadn't kicked in yet. But he never let his size hold him back. He participated in everything, football, basketball, and baseball. He was the water boy, ball boy, and bat boy, respectively. In this day and age, that would have earned him a participation trophy or a letter. It was during the early years that Tom began to build his coalition of friends. We looked like the United Nations coming together. Many of us are still friends, and I'm sure some question his choices. By the time high school rolled around, Tom had began to get some size, in height anyways. Those were wild times, and we were participating, all part of Tom's formative years. He experienced his first and probably last fist fight. It took place at Snug Harbor. The story told by our best bud, Andy Zagaris, Tom wound up, balled up his fist, closed his eyes, and threw a punch that landed to the back of my head. Unbeknownst to me, it was Tom's punch. I asked, who brought a pillow to the fight? And Andy said, it was your backup right there, Mr. Slack. That was the night the legend of Mr. Slack was born. Some of these times is what I think drove Tom to go into law. He's going to have to know how to defend himself without using his fist and represent his friends. We could call him Tom Hagen Saxe. Despite the distractions, Tom went off to college in the next chapter of his life. Eddie will, I'm sure, be touching on all that. So now Tom is enjoying retirement, living the good life, fulfilling his dreams and making memories. He's traveling, and although he's gone from Converse All-Stars to Skechers, hands-free slip-ins, he's getting around just fine on his new knee. He can recommend all the best restaurants this side of Palm Springs, for chicken tenders, that is. His love of music has landed him a new gig. Too young to join the Grateful Dead, too old to be a Backstreet Boy. He is now the drummer boy for his church choir. He now has time to tool around in his dream cars, and if you lost hope and thought he may have to spend the golden years alone, he found hope. Stand up, Hope. Stand up, Hope. He can be crass, brash, and a real ass, but it is what endears him to me and many. When all is said and done, he's pretty fly for a white guy. I'd like to finish by reading a short message I received from a Burton Junior High teacher, Mr. Webley, who has since passed on. He left this message in response to a picture I posted on Facebook after seeing a group of us at a Burton Junior High reunion. Mr. Webley wrote, "It is really remarkable to me that many of my first students at my first teaching job at Grand Rapids Burton Junior High School in 1967 formed meaningful, lifelong, permanent friendships and relationships that are still intact to this day, regardless and in spite of racial, cultural, and social economic differences. They were some of the most memorable young people I had the privilege to work with. I was just 21 years old, and I always have very fond memories of those days. God bless you all. Noel Webley." By the way, I did come prepared for the candle lighting ceremony. Just tell me where and when.
Big hand for Julian Arizola.
Thank you very much, Julian. Oh, by the way, one of the judges in the audience told me that we should probably take you and Pepe out the side door after this because there are some gentlemen from ICE in the lobby waiting to question you. So yeah, school was fun. Sure. It kept us out of trouble, especially if you were into sports like most of us were. Sports or extracurricular activities kept us out of trouble. For example, there were plays. And I believe it was in 9th grade when our class put on a presentation for the whole school of Romeo and Juliet. Oh, no. Luckily enough, I was chosen to play Romeo. So naturally, Tom wanted to be Juliet. But they chose Liz Ann David instead. Hi, Liz. Good to see you. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Liz Ann is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and whatever. So Tom got the part of, what were you, like a friar?
Friar Lawrence.
Did you? Oh, Friar Lawrence. I was wondering if you even had a name. I didn't remember.
I was typecast.
So long story short, the play went off almost without a hitch, unbelievably, until Liz Ann had a wardrobe malfunction backstage, I believe, that caused her to miss an entrance cue. So Tom and I, who were the only ones left on stage, had to weather an awkward delay waiting for her to appear. But naturally, Thomas L. Shakespeare decided to rewrite the scene on the spot with a snappy bit of ad-libbed dialogue. And I promise you, we have not rehearsed what you're about to hear. This is verbatim what we ad-libbed some 57 years ago.
I can still do it.
This is a complete surprise to Tommy. Are you ready?
Yes.
Now remember, 2 nervous freshmen, okay? The whole school staring at us, wondering what the hell was going on with this long silence. Now, cue the dialogue.
'Tis a pity
'Tis indeed.
for men as old as we.
There you have it, our first ever improv class. Like much of what you're hearing tonight. Now, another extracurricular activity that probably saved me from a high school career of booze, drugs, and crime was debate, believe it or not. That's right, nerd alert, debate. I was captain of the Central High School debate team. And debate is, of course, structured, logical, competitive argumentation, something that you would think would have appealed to a future lawyer, right? And we were good, okay? We went on to tournaments on the other side of the state like every weekend. We dominated. We won the City League Debate Championship our junior and senior years. I knew that Tom had the right stuff, okay? He was a natural. So early on, I encouraged him to join us. Told him that he had the stuff to become a master debater. So we survived high school, barely. And then there was college where Tommy met our next presenter, our roaster, Eddie Sypniewski. Mr. Westside.
The Prince.
Everybody over there knows Eddie. I hear he even got a couple of votes in the first round of the recent conclave. So there's no denying that Eddie is a mover and a shaker. Literally a mover because his company is Scully Statewide Moving. 616-735-2000. a family-owned and operated moving company proudly serving the West Michigan Lakeshore and beyond for over 80 years. Since 1945, 3 generations of dedicated professionals have delivered trusted moving services across the Great Lakes region. Get a free quote online today. Scully's Statewide Moving will make your move stress-free, safe, and efficient. I said Eddie was a mover and a shaker. He's also literally a shaker because he hasn't had a drink yet tonight, and it looks like he's getting the shakes. So let's get him up here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Pope of Pulaski Days, Mr. Eddie Sypniewski.
Thank you.
Hi, Ed.
Hi, Tom. Good evening. Welcome. Hope. This he really likes you. And thanks for buying us a beer and some food. This is really nice. Anytime. When you're 71, we'll do this again. So, the only thing I have, you got a Polish kid on the other side of the river after 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. I don't know how in the hell to get home from here. And I'm probably going to miss Lawrence Welk, but welcome everybody. And the Dirty Dozen that are here tonight.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Where are they?
They're around. Yeah, they can't talk anymore. Kevin, I don't know if you know this, but Tom was I was his date at your wedding at the Lexicon Club 50 years ago.
That was number 1, the first one.
And we apologize for not putting any money in the card, but we'll buy you a drink tonight. How's that? Call it even. What was that, 1975?
9.
Okay, close enough. We're at 2 drinks. 2 drinks. So here we are, the genesis of meeting this guy. We're at orientation at Grand Valley in the hallway. And remember the Marlboro man? He used to lean against the wall, and he had that hat. That was him. He had this plastic leather jacket on, this long hair. We both did. I'd been in parochial school for 12 years. I was growing my hair like Jesse over here. So I walked by this guy, and he goes, "Hey, man, you want to party?" So here we are. And it turns out that Tom went to Central High, and I played baseball with a lot of Central High guys in Southwest Little League. Gary and Ernie and David and Maven and Andy, who we missed tonight. So with that, he kind of started meeting our family and actually became part of our family. I remember he had this Vega, orange Vega, and he got in a little accident on the highway. And my parents lived over on 5th and Pine up on the hill there. And he comes over, and my dad just took thousands of pictures of everything. He's probably taken them. We put a camera in his casket, seriously. And he's taking pictures right now with my mom. I'm certain of it. But, so he comes over, and my dad's taking these pictures, and my mom, she didn't drink a lot. She goes, "You want a shot?" Took him in a Polish basement, and there they went. But I think the best story of at our house was one night Tom and I, well, number one, how did my mother know when I got home? She heard the microwave. He's safe. He's eating. Well, this particular night, we had been out, and Tom had a little problem and kind of got soiled on his pants. And my mother had just bought a new washer and dryer. So he decides to put the pants in the dryer. So that's what woke my mother up that night. So she comes downstairs and looks at him, and he said, quote, "Best I leave." She said, "You go sit down." So now she comes, wakes me up upstairs. "Go take care of your friend." So I come downstairs. Hey, it looks fine to me. I went to bed. So the next day, Saxe comes over, and he's got some lilies for my mother. Freshly picked from the neighbor's yard. So my sister thought, maybe it's time to really take care of Tom. And so from the Sypniewski family, overheard at 1025th Street, "Best I leave."
Oh, Eddie, thank you.
Yeah, we did the conventional way and went to the store and bought those. So there's your lilies, buddy. He's the reason I got out of college. He was doing something that I forgot to do my first year, study. Some of our best memories was Monday Night Football. And the guys from Central High would come out, some of the guys from the West Side. And that's when it was 9 o'clock. And you had Dandy Don Meredith and Howard Cosell and Gifford. And they started at 9 o'clock. And we had a class that night till 8 o'clock. So we would get back and throw our books somewhere. And across the street at Food and Stuff, anyone go to Grand Valley, remember that place? 2 jumbos for $1.19. Couldn't beat it. So the same guys would come over, and we'd turn the sound down on the TV, put on some Kansas, and watch the game. And then about midnight, 12:30, they would leave, and we'd laugh our ass off, going, how the hell are they going to make it home? And ironically, this happened again today, Tom. What comes on when I drive in here today? Kansas.
America. Song for America.
So we took this kid from Central High to bowling at the Click Lanes. Anyone ever been there? The first bowling ball I seen him throw, he had his arms and legs going 8 different directions, and half the guys hit the floor. It was the funniest darn thing I've ever seen. So he graduates over at UAD. We went to the Roskiller a couple of times. Wasn't that a bar in a basement or something over there? And my dad was a law judge, and he was a sponsor. And I remember when you got sworn in, whatever the heck they did with you, my dad described him as a modern-day Huckleberry Finn. I looked that up today. I'm still trying to figure that out. So when you get home tonight, Google it. He was an adventurous type. I never saw him going down a river with a black guy in a boat. But the relationship that Tom formed with our family, my brother and my sister are here, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, Eddie. Love you too.
We had those trips up north to the cabin where he decided to light a firecracker off next to my dad's bed at 2:30 in the morning after leaving the Oak Grove Tavern. And, of course, my mom and dad, they didn't give a shit. It was like, okay, you're all right. It's the sisters that complain. You woke us up. But I was so blessed to be with my family, and Tom became part of our family. And that's pretty cool. And, God, he did pretty darn good. He's got hope. He's paying our bill tonight. But, all in all, getting back to that jacket, that plastic coat, well, the guy's got a tux on now. That's pretty cool. Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you, Eddie, the Pope of Pulaski days. Woo. So, of course, college wasn't enough for Tom. He had to go on to law school. Fucking overachiever. He's a Sparty, right? Go green! No. Go green is what he says when he thinks of all the cash he's raked in over the years. The only thing Tommy loves more than money is music. He is a drummer, right? We talked about that. He rips it up Sunday mornings at church, right up there with the praise band and the choir. Can you even imagine what he had to put in the collection plate to get that gig? But we have a few legitimate musicians here with us tonight, I think. Yep. I saw the guest list. I don't know if they all showed up here. Grand Rapids music legend, Ralston Bowles. An American poet, songwriter, producer, musician, and singer. Serving the West Michigan community music scene since 1970, or about the same time Tom was rewriting Shakespeare at Burton Junior High. Speaking of legitimate, our next roaster takes the cake. Never in my life have I been honored to be in the presence of, more or less share the stage, with someone like Jim Schipper. A true legal eagle, Jim has done something in his law career that Tom, and probably most of you lawyers out there, have only ever dreamed of, okay? It's an award or a recognition that is rare, highly coveted, and it stands out as a crowning achievement in Jim's prestigious career. Martindale Hubble, highest AV preeminent rating judicial peer edition. That's a thing, right? No? See, that's what happens when Sue Ann, the insider who most of you probably know, and was supposed to call me back and give me lots of ammo about how to roast you legal dudes, so it would look like I knew what the hell I was talking about, doesn't call me back. But no, I'm left hanging.
Who can blame her?
So I had to do to you what most of Tom's old girlfriends did to him. I had to stalk you. Admittedly, it's easier than back in the day because, well, there's the internet now. Now, other than that award, all I know about Jim is that much of his work involves conflict resolution. So he might get some business based on what's going on here tonight.
He's retired.
I assume Jim will be shedding some light on Tom's true passion, his vocation, and what he spent the better part of his life doing, playing golf. No, wait, that's Ken Sanders. But we are lucky to have Jim with us tonight, as he was a bit of a last-minute addition, as Tom's longtime nemesis, ruthless divorce attorney Mary Mims, decided that she couldn't be in the same room with Tom for this long. Now, Mary did send her regrets in an email that read in part, and I'm going to read this. I was truly looking forward to meeting some of your wide assemblage of friends, Tom, and I know only through anecdotes and conversations. That includes you, Hope. We grew up in many ways a lot alike, Tom, and we're not necessarily likely candidates for where we ended up. I know that I've given you and you me a lot of crap over the years. Some of it was even deserved. I have so many great memories of our many cases together, the ones I just mentioned, and of our asymmetrical relationships with the world. I have no idea what that means.
Shabby over your head.
Yeah. I am so sorry that I cannot be there. I wish I wasn't. I know that it will be an amazing event, and so I wish that I could be there. And she sent flowers. Did you see the flowers?
I did.
Mary sent flowers. So. Yeah, okay. Way too much nice stuff. Let's get Jim up here to dig up some dirt. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jim Schipper.
So, Ruth Buzzy died last week, but who needs her? We got Kevin Reynolds. I was worried about what I was going to say until Eddie made a joke about Tom and his dirty pants. So,
It was the outside of the paint.
yeah, whatever. I have it on really good authority that a week or two ago, Tom and Hope were on a date. And with this big birthday party coming up, this conversation got serious. You know, Tom turning 70, we're all getting a little older and things like that. And Hope turned to Tom and said, Tom, if I die first, would you date again? And Tom said, you know, this is uncomfortable to talk about, but yeah, Hope, I probably would. And then she said, if you started dating again, would you let her drive my car? And he said, Hope, I don't want to have to this is, again, I'm uncomfortable, but it's a nice car. It's got low miles. It's in good shape. I probably would let her drive your car. And at that point in time, Hope said, would you play golf with her? And he said, yeah, you and I have enjoyed golf, but if I was dating again, I probably would play golf with this person I'm dating. Hope said, would you let her use my clubs? And he said, no, she's left-handed. Tom and I were both hired at Rhodes McKee the same year. I was a summer law clerk in the summer of 1983. He was hired as a new lawyer. So he and I have worked together and laughed together and had a great time together for over 40 years. And I have to say that obviously when the two of us were both in the same room, I didn't get to say much. But here we are tonight, and he was foolish enough to give myself and all of his friends the microphone with him sitting way over there. So let's see what happens. So we've all heard some things about Tom's story. He grew up in Burton Heights. He lost his mom at a very young age. He was raised by his older brother and his friends, some of whom you've met here tonight. He put himself first through Grand Valley, then through Michigan State, then through law school. He was a clerk at the Court of Appeals. He had a great practice for over 40 years at Rhodes McKee. He had a great reputation in the bar and was loved by his colleagues and his coworkers. It is really a remarkable story of hard work, self-reliance, and initiative that you can hardly imagine. And the thing is, here he is close to 70. He doesn't care about any of that. He wants to be known as a great athlete. There are two sports that he got involved with that he's most proud of. The first one was basketball, and Tom feels personally that the three-point line was invented only for him. And I know that because he's never taken a shot from inside the three-point line. And likewise, on the other end of the court, he's never defended anyone inside the three-point line. Any of you who've played basketball with him know that that's absolutely the case. So Tom has also embraced, as he's gotten older, social media. Many of us here in this room are his Facebook friends. So we know what his minister is talking about every Sunday morning. We know when he gets his convertible out of storage in the spring. And many of us have seen photographs of Tom that look something like this. There's Tom in the middle with a couple other people holding a big golf trophy. Because golf is the other sport that he wants to be famous for. And I'm sorry to do this to my dear friend of 40 plus years, but Tom's not that good of a golfer. I'm going to tell you the rest of the story. You see these two people on each side of him? This is Tom after the Grand Rapids Bar Association scramble. He's entered his team into the non-law firm mixed division. There might have been one other or two other teams in this division. And the two women on each side of him are the two best golfers in the Grand Rapids Bar Association. You can only imagine how many of his drives they used. Here's another photograph a few years later of Tom at a Michigan State alumni golf outing. And again, the rest of the story is this. The two guys on the right, George Booth and Kurt Hasberger, both lettered in golf at Michigan State University. So Tom can't golf worth a shit, but he's the most amazing recruiter ever. He's also mastered the scramble format, where everybody hits and they use the best shot. And as you can imagine, the letter winners in golf at Michigan State University don't use him much. He pretty much, his job at these golf events is to pay the entry fee, buy drinks, and buy mulligans in the pro shop for the rest of his teammates. Now, once in a while, they'll let him tap in a 2-footer so he feels like he's contributing to the team. You may not have heard of this, but in the next couple of weeks, there's yet another scramble golf tournament coming up, and Tom is ready this year. I think it's the Burton Heights Open. It's being held at Tom's home course, which is Indian Trails, of course. Someone anonymously sent me this photograph of Tom's team for the Burton Heights Open. And here it is. We have in this photograph Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, and Tom Saxe. Once again, I'm sure Tiger's going to say, yeah, Tom, hit away. We're going to use your drive here. Let's not forget of the fact that he is a lovely human being, an accomplished and successful lawyer, and a great friend of all of ours. So, Tom, happy birthday.
So thank you, Jim. Your dissertation of Tom's athletic prowess reminds me that I need to relate a few anecdotes about his sporting life as well. We were basketball buddies, not just on the blacktop courts of Garfield Park, but as we matured, we played rec ball as well. We rented gyms with other hoopsters and played weekly. It's exactly what Tom did. He played very weakly. But he had an amazingly accurate long-range shot for something so awkward-looking. His shot was relatively flat, looked like a boulder coming out of a slingshot. Often his teammates would be yelling, "No, no, nice shot, Tom." His nickname on the court was No Conscience, because he never met a shot he wouldn't take. He did have another nickname. Since he was a Sparty and he tended around the same time that Magic Johnson did, we used to call him Tragic Johnson. Not just for his basketball game, but for his Johnson. Before we get to our final official roaster, I want to remind everyone that at the end, Tom gets the last word. He gets to roast us back. So I thought in my defense, I would take a few minutes to display all of my dirty laundry to try to diffuse any of the roasting he might do of me. So let's see. You already know about my 2 divorces. That's fodder. Oh, yeah, here's a good one. My middle name. Were you going to use that one, Tommy?
Kevin Bonnie Reynolds Jr.
I need to preface that with my usual defense mechanism was that in the old country, that meant good and handsome, okay? He was a bonny lad. Few people were closer to Tom than our next roaster. There's nobody more important to a lawyer than his law partner, except for his golf partner. Ken Sanders filled that role, so none of the rest of us would have to. Thank God. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ken Sanders.
Thanks, Kev. I appreciate the introduction.
Hey, Sue Ann never called me back, okay?
That might be a good thing. So, I have to say, looking around at this room, that this is a surprisingly large crowd. I mean, really. I have to ask, in all honesty, and I know there's a lot of lawyers in the room, so that might be a stretch. But, you know, raise your hand if you were paid to be here. How about raising your hand if you were promised something of value? And how about raising your hand if you were threatened if you weren't here? I'm sure you're wondering why I'm up here, and so am I. I really am wondering. And you know, they often say that you only roast the ones that you love, so this is going to be very short. Not going to talk as long as these guys. This is going to be very short.
How could you?
When I received this low-budget, cheap-ass broadcast email invitation that we all received like 5 months ago, I first thought it was for an early summer weenie roast. Then I realized, no, it's a roast of a weenie named Tom, or Tommy, Saxman, Tomas, Saxmo, T-Man, Saxe. yeah, right. But, there's a glaring omission from this list of nicknames on the invitation, and the one that I think best suits Tom is Low T. Yeah, Low T. And I have to say that this was diagnosed by my daughter, who is a physician. After her observation during one 9-hole round of golf with this guy. And I first met Low T in late November of 1984, when I was a 10-day well-schooled new lawyer trying my first case against a well-seasoned construction lawyer of several years. Not only did my client lose his claim for payment on his contract price, but he was assessed attorney fees and interest for a usury counterclaim by Tom's client. It was Tom's heartfelt way of welcoming me to the legal profession. And I'm certain that I provided endless humor for the entire firm of Mahoney, Goodrich, and Tita for years to come. So my love-hate relationship really blossomed in 1989 when Tom asked me to be his playing partner in the long-standing and long-established Attorney Golf League. I agreed without hesitation, thinking, this would be fun watching this non-athletic, uncoordinated, hot-headed, short-fused, loud-mouthed dude playing the gentleman's game of golf. He has never disappointed me, never. And every year I try, to put him on the waiver wire to trade him. I want to trade up. I've even offered a family-sized bag of chips to go with it. No takers. Tom has taught me a whole new vocabulary of expressing one's inner thoughts on the golf course. Why, I do not know, but our golf partnership and relationship lasted longer than Tom's marriage. Another one of Tom's greatest interests, besides hope, and I maybe hope it's not in that order, is his love and knowledge of music, as attested to here by his friends. You can name any musician, and Tom will tell you without asking or prompting every single thing, and I mean every single thing you can think about of the artist. Let's take Mick Jagger, for instance. Tom will tell you his birth date, where he was born, his parents, his grandparents' names, the names of his illegitimate and legitimate children, where they are now, what they're doing, whether they're members of the music profession, whatever the hell's going on, yada, 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 yada. And in the words of the late Roger Bohr, you put 50 cents into Tommy's sax and you get $2 of music back out. Tom has always aspired to be a musician, and I want to emphasize aspired. He took guitar lessons from the late, great Junior Valentine. Tom, I have to ask, how many guitars have you owned or do you own right now?
I own about 4 now.
But probably 6 or 7 other, maybe? Oh, sure. So that's like a guy with a classic car collection who has no driver's license. And so from this guitar aspiration, Tom has moved on to foreskins. What? Get your minds out of the gutter. What I mean by that is drums, the bass, the snare, tom-tom, and bongos, foreskins. I understand now that he, as said here before, that he's got a weekly gig at the Cascade Presbyterian Church where the congregation is praying in mass for hearing loss. And where some of the ladies have been excommunicated for throwing their depends on stage. You know, we could talk about Tom Saxe all night, but he's really not worth it. But I never thought I would have this opportunity, Tom, before this vast audience to tell you what I really think of you. That every time you open your mouth, you should be arrested for littering. You trash-talking, insult-slinging, rude son of a salesman. To many of us, Tom appears to be brass, crude, insensitive, arrogant, narcissistic, challenged. I could go on, but I won't. But if they ever cut this man open, they'd find a heart of gold. But if they didn't, it would still be worth cutting him open. And so before we raise a toast to Tom, I do want to yield the next 5 minutes to Julie. I have 5 minutes left. I'd like to yield my time. I sound like Congress now. I'd like to yield my 5 minutes to...
You promised. You guys promised.
All right, let's just raise a glass, whatever you have left. Happy birthday, dear Thomas. Thank you.
Now, I've known Tom for a long, long time. And I can truly say, I have never met a more gregarious person. He's fond of company. He's a friend to all he meets. He's social. He's outgoing, full of life and love. Tom is so gregarious, I'm told, that when he was born, he came out, slapped the doctor on the back, told the intern a dirty joke, and asked the nurse out on a date. Some people say that Tom is loud. I prefer the term boisterous. After all, he has to be, so he can hear over himself. Tom's laugh is infectious. Unfortunately, so is his cough. So is his cough. To Tom, strangers are friends, friends are family, but he ain't lending any of you losers money, okay? Mr. Thomas L. Saxe, Esquire.
Kevin, thank you for that pedestrian and overly wordy introduction. You know, I look at the Roastmaster and these roasters up here on this dais, and I think they kind of look like the male staff at a truck stop massage parlor. I never heard so many scurrilous things about somebody that wasn't running for office. I'll start with Julian. Where is he? He's hiding from me in the bathroom where he usually is. Should I wait for him? Or hammer him here. Do 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 do. It's not the first time his bladder's been a problem in this relationship. You know, I met Julian's 7th grade homeroom. I'll never forget the day we met. God knows I've tried. As the last of my father's 7 kids, I was an unwanted child. But hanging around Julian for a few years, I was wanted in 3 states. I look at Julian and I think, 6 million years of human evolution, and this is what we get? I will say this about Julian, though. He provided me a lot of life guidance when we were teen kids. He was my Fonzie. I was Rich Cunningham, for those of you who remember Happy Days. And Julian even taught me how to cuff my sleeves. I turned to Eddie. I met Eddie at Grand Valley Orientation, as he told you. And I'm telling you, I really met Eddie on an off-ramp between Sodom and Gomorrah. Was it serendipitous? Was it kismet? Or was it proof that the Holy Spirit has a sense of humor? Eddie introduced me to guys who become lifelong friends. The whole West Side. Think of West Catholic High School, class of 73 through 74. Those guys all took me in when I needed friends. And he introduced me to a group that I kind of ostensibly started with him, and that was the Grand Valley Dirty Dozen. It was the reason I left Grand Valley and transferred to Michigan State. I thought my grade point was going to suffer so severely I'd never get into law school. Guess what? I had the same grade point at Grand Rapids Central, Grand Valley, Michigan State, and University of Detroit Law School. I'm just a solid 3.5 guy.
How about his 2.0?
Right. Eddie also introduced me to a myriad of women, and he brought every one of them great joy when he left. You know, Ed, if you have to get up and go to the restroom like Julian did, and the sign says, gentlemen, go ahead and use it, because there isn't a restroom that says horn dog.
I'm single.
Jim Skipper. I met Skip. You know, Skip talked about our first couple years as young lawyers together. We were really pretty young when he introduced us to some judge at a bar. He goes, I'm Skipper. Judge says, who are you, Gilligan or the professor? I opted for the professor. Anyway, I'm glad Skip could stay sober for this. You know, AA would not take Jim Skipper. They sent him to EA, which is Everything Anonymous. You know, it's safe to say that Jim is a genius. It's not true, but it's safe to say. I get to Ken Sanders. Ken had so many nice things to say about me after I'd mopped the courtroom up with him his first trial. I met him when his ridiculously stupid partner sent him for his first jury trial against a seasoned litigator like me. And his partner knew it wasn't looking good, so he sent Ken to be crucified in front of Judge Johnston in Kent Court. Anyway, we've been golf partners for over 35 years. I never had a lesson, and God knows it shows. But Ken taught me all the nuances of golf. And, I mean, he taught me the difference between loose impediments and movable obstructions. And then I played with Bill Lenniga, and we learned that everything was a loose impediment or a movable obstruction, where the foot wedge always comes into play. But anyway, I mean, I'm not really sure how Ken and I got along so well for so long when we're so different. I mean, I like museums. I like gourmet cuisine. I like legitimate theater. Ken likes black and white Gunsmoke reruns, chicken wings, and the Pussycat Club. Anyway, it's you know, he's tried to trade. It is true. He's tried to trade me every year. And, you know, thinking about one of the things I tried to get Ken involved in the culture of West Michigan was the ballet. I go to the Nutcracker every year. Ken went to the ballet. He saw the ballerinas on their toes, and he said, "Why can't they just get taller girls?" Anyway, the most important life lesson I ever got was probably from my dear friend Ken Sanders, when I learned never, ever, under any circumstances, take a laxative and a sleeping pill on the same night. Now, Kevin Bonnie Reynolds Jr., he knew I wasn't going to drop that Bonnie on him until he came out of the closet with it. But I met Kevin, as he said, 7th grade student council, and yeah, I was reelected, and he wasn't. I guess his constituents just wanted him to shut up and sit down. Anyway, I found out later that our dads, believe it or not, were drinking buddies and pool sharks together, which, you know, that's kind of cosmic, isn't it, Kevin? We also played basketball together for years. As he said, Garfield Park. We played 1-on-1 against each other, 2-on-2 against anybody who thought they could hang with us. And the really sad part about it with basketball, there was only one ball. And Kevin and I were the black hole of all passes. So whoever inbounded it would never see it again. Right, Kev?
Truth.
One thing Kevin reminded me tonight was that I did represent him in 2 divorces. And I got a great life lesson from Kevin, and that is, you're only as old as the woman you feel. Said Kevin went from working in radio to television, and I guess you have to ask yourself, what other media industry can you destroy? I'd like everyone to indulge me for a couple serious comments. Well, wait, 2 pages of serious comments. I've got my closest friends up here, which really is wonderful, from, as Julian says, 57 years, 40 plus years with Jim Schipper. And what do these guys have in common? They're all smart and smart asses. They're all loyal. They all understand the absurdity of our short life on this earth. So they took their jobs seriously, but they did not take themselves seriously. They are essentially characters with character. And what they all have done for me is make me a better version of myself. I was homeless my senior year at Grand Rapids Central High School by that, drunk-ass dad that Saxe family kind of knows about. And Kevin B. Reynolds' family took me in like a stray dog. And then, over the summer, I lived with Julian's cousin. Jerry Arizola's here. I lived with Jerry's family until I was so lucky. I was the luckiest guy to go off to college. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got somewhere nice to live. And that's where I met Eddie, and his family adopted me, he said, like Tom Hagen or the Huckleberry Finn that I was. Now, I'm going to tell you a brief story about my early life. First, the earth cooled. All right, I'll give you the truncated version, but I was born in Evansville, Indiana. My father was apparently hiding out from the Muskegon County Friend of the Court. I've got my half-siblings, John, Jane. I'm sorry that Sandy couldn't make it, but they were really left in Muskegon. My dad left 5 kids to his former spouse, Ellen, who heroically raised them by herself. And sadly, I didn't get to know them until I was an adult. So I'm grateful that they're here, and I want to tip my hat to them. Now, my classmates wonder, why I'm 70 and they're all turning 69. Well, I'll tell you why, just like you suspected. I flunked kindergarten. I started at Henry School when my family lived on Wealthy Street, and I just liked it intensely. Maybe I hated being a minority. I don't know. But I didn't like it, and my mother assured me that I didn't have to go anymore because we were moving to Burton Heights, and I could start at Buchanan Elementary, which I did. And so I was never very concerned because I could read and write better than my brother Ray. Where are you, Ray? Well, as they pointed out, what'd you call me, Julian? A shrunken dwarf? He had something really derogatory to say about what a little guy I was, and it was true. My family doctor treated me with cortisone for my asthma. It stunted my growth where, people say my brain's in the gutter. Well, I was looking up at the gutter. And so it stunted my growth, and just think of what a shrimp I would have been had I graduated with guys like Gary Rasmus in my class. And where are you, Raz? Didn't show up. I can't believe I made it to 70. I'm not the slightest bit moribund. I'm going to hang around. I outlived a couple of tragic losses. My mother, my first day in 9th grade. My son Jeremy was killed in a car wreck when he was 21. And so I would not have survived any of that without these 4 men you see right here who helped me through all of that. 5 men. 5 men, sorry. I would not have made it without their help. So I want to thank my family and friends. I hope you have a few more drinks because, well, why not? It's Saturday. I also want to thank my baby Hope, who's sitting right there. She said, "Do you want a birthday party?" And I go, "Yeah." And I had no idea that it could be something like this. And she had help decorating, but it's been a great night. Thanks for everybody, and I love you all.